Hey everyone! So here is video 2 of how we did these different pods of native plants on this property. This is our circle drive, I guess. It's really more like a U drive. So when we moved here, this area was just mowed. And we're really close to the road, as I've mentioned. And this is an old farmhouse, so that was pretty standard at this time. It's a pre-1900 house. And so they made this U drive, I'm sure, just to make it easier. And it's been very useful since we've lived here because there's a lot of development coming up from Columbus and the traffic has really increased. So it's nice to have two places to pull in. We didn't want this little patch here though to be grass because besides loving native plants and wanting this whole place to just be filled with native plants for all the other life around here, but we wanted some privacy. And so we thought, okay, let's put some woodies in here and wildflowers. So right in the middle is a red bud, and there's actually a red bud on the side. And that one probably won't stay long term. It depends on the growth pattern because we also do need to be able to get in and out of the driveway. We use the same technique here as we did on the planting that I showcased last time, which is just across the driveway right over here. Which, look at that, everybody. Oh my gosh, the cups are starting to pop. Okay, let's go back. And I'm trying to not move too fast because I usually move way faster than my phone wants to focus. So I do apologize for that. So our technique was to lay cardboard, newspaper, and on this one, Steve reminded me, we even used some feed bags. We had chickens at that time and they were paper on the outside, and we thought this is perfect. And so we laid them in there. But alas, that was not a good idea. They were lined in the middle with plastic and it came out later in little pieces. So don't do that. The other thing is, if you use cardboard like we did, pull the tape. We didn't do that in certain areas, and it also doesn't go away because it's plastic. So it comes up and it's just a mess. So take the time ahead of time to pull it. And then we put straw on top, and we planted shrubs into here. Besides the redbud, we also have hazelnut. I've done a video on the hazelnuts in the past because we had a polyphemus moth cocoon on there, which was super exciting. And the flowers are just fantastic on hazelnuts. They're very different. These are false sunflowers in bloom. We also planted wildflower plugs into that mat of smothering materials, I guess you want to say. And eventually all that breaks down, and then as these plants go to seed, they drop the seed into a really fertile area because you left, or at this time of course we left all that grass, but if you do it this way, you will leave all that grass and all that nutrition in the soil. So all of the invertebrates break it down. And I got a car coming behind me, so I'm just walking on so you guys can see. Okay, there we go. Now there's a walnut coming in here. We won't let the walnut grow because we really have to be careful here with how many trees are growing because there's a million and we want to have those diverse habitats. So this is Fragrant Sumac, which is a sprawling low shrub. And I think we also have some prairie ninebark in here. And as usual, we just love that dense planting. I was sitting out in that garden that I showcased last time yesterday, and I shouldn't even call it a garden anymore because it's not maintained by us other than keeping out the weeds. And there were insects everywhere. Everywhere I looked. And so it's just like a whole kingdom of life in these little pods. 3.5 acres isn't little, but each of these, I don't even really know how to describe how it feels. Like, they feel like these separate areas. Of course they're not. And so that's part of why we have so much life here, is there are so many plants. And they're all tied together, and they're thriving together and living together, sharing space. And that's what seems to be so attractive to all of the insects and the birds and the amphibians and the reptiles. It of course also helps keep the humidity in, and insects love that, as do the plants. So in terms of management here, I told you how we began, and then we'll keep out the big tall trees from this area, and then that's about it. If any invasive plants come in here, such as autumn olive or honeysuckle, we will cut those out as well. And then that's it. The stalks will stay in here from the perennials, and if any start to flop into the driveway, I just tuck them back in amongst one another, and then they stay. And you can see this redbud is loaded with fruit. Those little hard seeds that are going to feed so many birds later. So that's it, everybody. We'll pick another area next week to showcase. So the main lessons are: smothering works well. Don't leave any plastic on your smothering materials. And then leave all the organic matter in the area you're working so that the plants have so much nutrition to pull from, and all the decomposers that are in the soil can thrive and have food and make the soil just better and better and better. It's a big, beautiful cycle, and we get to be witness to it, and you do too. It's a real gift.